Ancient Filipinos started the practice of paying taxes. The purpose of paying taxes was simple. It was for the protection they received from the datu. The collected tax was called buwis. Except for the chieftain's household, everyone in the community is required to pay their taxes, non-payment of which was already punishable during this period. The arrival of the Spaniards ushered in modern concepts of taxation. The native Filipinos aged between 16 to 60 years old were compelled to pay tribute to the King of Spain through the colonial government worth 8 reales or 1 peso per year. Other forms of payment came in gold, chickens, textile, cotton, rice, and forced labor or servicio y polo. In 1884, the tribute was abolished and was replaced by the cedula, a certificate identifying the taxpayer. Why is tax especially critical for a nation? Money provided by taxation has been used by states in their functional equivalents throughout history to carry out many functions. Some of these include expenditures on war, the enforcement of law and public order, protection of property, economic infrastructure, public works, social engineering, subsidies, and operation of government itself. Governments also use taxes to fund welfare and public services. These services can include education systems, healthcare systems, pensions for the elderly, unemployment benefits, and public transportation. Energy, water, and waste management systems are also common public utilities. This is where your taxes go.
What is taxation? Taxation is the inherent power by which the sovereign state imposes financial burden upon persons and property as a means of raising revenues in order to defray the necessary expenses of the government. Taxation is also the imposition of financial charges or other levies upon a taxpayer, an individual or legal entity by a state such that failure to pay is punishable by law. It is a mode by which government make exactions for revenue in order to support their existence and carry out their legitimate objectives. Tax law jurisprudence by Justice Vito 2000. It is the most prevalent and the toughest of all the powers of the government. Taxes are the lifeblood of the government, without which it cannot subsist.
Tax in the Philippines can be divided into national tax and local tax. National tax are those tax that will be paid to BIR through its RDO. BIR means Bureau of International Revenue, while RDO means Regional District Office where you will pay your tax based on where your business is located. History of tax in the Philippines. Ancient Egypt around 3000 before Christ to 2800 before Christ in the first dynasty of the Old Kingdom. In biblical times, tax is already prevalent according to Genesis. Augustus Caesar introduced the inheritance tax to provide retirement funds for the military. The tax was 5% on all inheritances except gifts to children and spouses. England, taxes were first used as emergency measures.
Inherent power of the states. Police power, eminent domain, and taxation power. Police power. It is the power to enact law to promote general welfare. Eminent domain. It is the power to take private property for public use upon payment of just compensation. Taxation power. Power to take property for the support of the government and for the public purposes. Purpose of taxation. Primary purpose and secondary purpose. Primary purpose. To raise revenue funds or to defray the necessary expense of the government. also called the revenue purposes. Secondary purpose, to use as a tool for general social and economic welfare, also called regulator, sumptuary, compensatory purposes.
Exemptions of government. Agencies performing governmental function are tax-exempt unless expressly taxed. Agencies performing proprietary functions are subject to tax unless expressly exempted. Performing proprietary functions are subject to tax, however, the following are granted exemptions: GSIS, SSS, PHIC, and PCS.
There are three citas of taxation: place of taxation, factors to consider on citas of taxation, application on citas of taxation. Place of taxation: the estate where the subject to be taxed has may rightfully levy and collect the tax. The citus is necessary in the estate which has jurisdiction or which exercises dominion over the subject question. Factors to consider determining citas of taxation: there are subject matter, person, property, and activity, nature of tax, citizenship, residence of taxpayer. Lastly, application of citas of taxation: person, residence of taxpayer, real property tax location, tangible personal property location, and tangible personal property of the owner domicile, income, residence or citizenship or source of income, business place of business, occupation where the occupation is engaged in, transaction where the transaction took place, gratuitous, transfer of property, residence or citizenship of the taxpayer, location of the property. Note: share of stock in a domestic corporation of a non-resident alien are taxable in the Philippines because the said share received the protection and benefits of the Philippine law.
Process of tax law. 1. Constitution. 2. Tax codes such as BIR Code, Tariff and Customs, and portion of local government. 3. Statutes like RA 1125, Act creating the Court of Tax Appeal, EV80 Law, RA 7716, RA 8424 Tax Reform Act of 1997, 4. Presidential Decrees, 5. Executive Orders, 6. Court Decision, 7. Revenue Regulation promulgated by the Department of Finance, 8. Administrative Issuance of the BIR, 9. BIR Ruling, 10. Local Tax Ordinances, 11. Tax Treaties and Convention with foreign countries.
Inherent power of state. According to subject matter, personal fall or capitalization tax, property tax, excise tax, and according to reverse the burden, direct tax, income tax, indirect tax, VAT, according to determination of accounts, specific tax, ad valorem tax, and according to purpose, fiscal general revenue tax, regulatory, special sumptuary tax.
Who will pay the tax? First one is resident citizen. Resident citizen is a Filipino citizen who live and born in the Philippines. Resident citizen may also mean a natural born here in the Philippines, though his parents are not Filipino citizen. A Filipino who have one Filipino parent and one foreigner parent as long as she is born here in the Philippines.
Second, non-resident citizen. Non-resident citizen is a Filipino citizen who are out of the country or outside of the Philippines for 181 days or more. The third one, resident alien. Alien means people who are not citizen of the Philippines but already here in the Philippines to work or live here within 181 days or more.
Non-resident alien. Non-resident alien are those aliens who visit Philippines for leisure and live here for only 181 days.